Hello everyone, my name is Gabby, and welcome back to another Dragon Ball Super review. This time reviewing episode 126. Despite their best efforts, 17 and Frieza can do nothing against Toppo, who's about to eliminate them before Goku, Vegeta, and Jiren's fight interrupts them. As Vegeta tries to get to Jiren, Toppo steps into attack, and the two of them begin to fight. While Toppo initially seems to have the upper hand, Vegeta's proclamation that, unlike him, he wouldn't discard anything causes the tables to turn. Vegeta explains he'll use an attack too powerful to destroy and readies a massive explosion like the one he used against Buu. It successfully defeats Toppo, and because Vegeta had gotten so much stronger since then, he even managed to survive the attack in the process. Only Jiren is left. So, what did I like about this episode? Well, first of all, I honestly did enjoy the kind of ideas behind, sort of underlying Toppo's eventual defeat by the hands of Vegeta. I mean, the fact is, the kind of interesting thing about Toppo's God of Destruction power-up in the first place is it actually kind of feels like it has sort of thematic meaning to it. It's sort of like Toppo discarding his ideas of justice because they couldn't protect his universe. To become a God of Destruction, Toppo had to give up basically everything he represented, and at this point, now that he is a God of Destruction, he's kind of very fixated on that idea and is sort of saying that that's what everyone should do. That everyone should just kind of discard these unnecessary sort of mortal attachments if you really want to get stronger. But then you have Vegeta basically just coming in and telling him that's not necessarily true, and also you're basically wrong. Because Vegeta, personally, still has all these attachments to his family and to Kaba and to everybody else, and despite that, he still managed to get stronger. Basically, Vegeta is kind of explaining to Toppo that his logic is flawed, and because of that, he's not necessarily right, and because of that, he lost the fight. You know, this isn't just a fight of power, this is almost like a fight of ideology. And you have like Vegeta's ideology kind of conflicting with Toppo's ideology, and pretty much Vegeta proving that his is better and works, and that's why he wins. As for what I didn't like about this episode, well, first of all, instead of us getting to see 17 and Frieza try to figure out sort of smart, creative ways to kind of almost, outsmart Toppo or out-strategize Toppo to try and deal with this almost like broken power of a God of Destruction, instead, the way Toppo is defeated is by having Vegeta just flat out overpower him because he cares about his family a lot. Now, I'm not going to say this doesn't make any sense. It does. It is a perfectly logical, valid way to defeat Toppo, but it is also really kind of boring. What's the point of giving Toppo a unique kind of concept and a unique skill set if at the end of the day you're just going to kind of beat him in a flat-out beam struggle like you do for so many other opponents? And while technically you could argue that the way that Toppo was defeated with Vegeta's kind of big explosion kind of had some strategy to it, in that it was Vegeta actually thinking and deciding to use an attack that was just so big and so powerful that Toppo just couldn't destroy it all. That doesn't really excuse that part where Vegeta just like flat out punches through Toppo's destruction technique. That is just plain old overpowering for no real reason other than just Vegeta is strong enough to overpower a God of Destruction's attack, and it's just not very interesting. And it's disappointing because the last episode was implying that maybe they could do something interesting with it. Also, remember how a few episodes back I was going on about how I was feeling like some of Vegeta's character moments and Vegeta's kind of power-up moments were feeling a little bit repetitive because they were kind of playing the idea of him just getting like a big kind of character resolve moment followed by a power-up consecutively really quickly? Well, for some reason, they decided the best way to alleviate that concern was to make it happen again. Once again, Vegeta seems to get stronger by talking about how much he cares about his pride and or Kaba and or his family, and this is the third time it has happened in the space of 5 episodes. Even if you like these moments, can't we all at least acknowledge that that's kind of a little bit excessive? And also kind of repetitive? And the gist of all of the speeches are kind of exactly the same. They're about how Vegeta is deciding that he's going to get stronger with his own pride, through his own power, to go and help the people that are close to him personally. I feel like we're just kind of going in circles, and it's honestly getting kind of almost hard to believe. And then there's the fact that at the end of the day, they decide to have Vegeta beat Toppo by kind of basically literally doing a repeat and a throwback to the time where Vegeta Vegeta blew himself up against Majin Buu, except this time he survives. Throwbacks are one thing that aren't always my favorites, and this time it was even kind of directly acknowledged for no real conceivable reason, which kind of made it worse, but I think the real thing that's actually kind of really bad if you think about it too much is the fact that Vegeta survived his own self-destruction technique. Because the entire point of having a big kind of sacrificial technique like that one that Vegeta used in the Buu saga was that you assume it's going to actually be some kind of sacrifice and Vegeta would actually die from it. I mean, when you have a moment like this and you have an outcome like this, it sort of made me look at it and kind of think and wonder, did Vegeta know this back in the Buu saga? When he chose to blow himself up against Buu, did he know that there was a chance that he might be able to survive it? I mean, obviously we're not going to get an answer, and we assume the answer is no, but you can't stop thinking about it now, can you? The very idea that there was a chance that Vegeta might be able to have survived that attack, and the fact that Vegeta might have been aware of it, suddenly means it's no longer a sacrifice. And it means that one of Vegeta's most iconic character moments in the entire franchise is suddenly no longer a guaranteed sacrifice. Instead, it feels like it's more like a very risky video game technique that leaves you at 1 HP. And did we need to have that accidental implication potentially kind of ruining the impact of the original moment just so we could get a nostalgic throwback? Don't get me wrong, I'm pretty sure this wasn't intentional, but it's definitely the writers not really thinking about the implications of their own things that they're putting in the episode. So, as for next episode, well, Jiren is the last opponent that they have to defeat to actually win this tournament. Obviously, it's not going to be easy. And also it looks like 17 is going to jump in and help, and maybe this might be his big character moment that maybe we haven't really properly had. I've got to admit, the fact that we have 4 people on Universe 7 only against 1 opponent in Universe 11 does make it seem like it's much more likely Universe 7 can actually win this. But of course it is Jiren and we probably haven't even seen his full power yet, so I guess we'll see just how much they can do with him. So that was Dragon Ball Super episode 126. I mean, it was fun, as long as you can kind of sort of ignore the events that have been happening in the previous episodes. Toppo's big power-up thing was basically just used to give Vegeta a big character moment, even though Vegeta has also had 2 character moments in previous episodes, basically just before this. The biggest issue with this episode and kind of the last few episodes is it kind of just feels like we've been going in circles. I mean, the big Universe 11 fight is basically down to just Jiren, and yet I feel like nothing has actually happened other than the fact that Gohan is out and Vegeta is now no longer wearing a shirt. Not to mention, a lot of this stuff feels like it's not really going to matter to the final Jiren fight either, which kind of just makes me wonder what the whole point of it was. To give Vegeta a big moment? To give 17 and Frieza moments? To give Gohan a moment? It's like everyone's getting moments, but it doesn't really feel like they're actually important. It feels like they're moments for the sake of being moments. Defeating an opponent for the sake of defeating an opponent, and not really because it's doing anything in the story. At the very least, we are getting to the fight with Jiren next episode, so we're no longer going to have this thing where it feels like characters are being given to make other characters look better, or to give them a moment to shine, or whatever. Like, now we're actually at the final battle. Presumably what's going to be happening from these episodes onwards are going to be important, and I really hope they are, and I hope the final Jiren fight is going to do something, and mean something, and actually progress. And also maybe have some more consistency between episodes. That would be really nice. So this is Gabby signing out, and I'll see you all next week. Bye guys!